Hello and welcome to this special report from the news studio. This is Jason Olborn here for the Daily Australian, formerly World Series News, and you'll find our show with myself and Nicola Charles each day airing Monday to Friday from noon, Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time on X, Rumble and Substack. Well, today's story is about Peter Strzok, and it's called TikTok. Peter Strzok. Now, who is Peter Strzok? He was a higher up at the FBI who was eventually fired from the FBI after the Trump Russiagate scandal that erupted. Now, what's really interesting about this particular story is that there's been much mutterings out there in the mainstream, well, at least in the independent media, about some searches coming out of Washington, D.C. since Inauguration Day. And Owen Schroyer has been the latest to pick up the story, and he reports from, in fact, this post from WikiLeaks that Washington, D.C. searches soared for Swiss banks, offshore banks, wire money, and IBAN since the inauguration. Well, Owen has also been able to dig down and find that the search for a lawyer in Washington, D.C. is up 400%. And for a criminal lawyer, those searches are up 800%. In a town that voted for Biden and Harris, more than 80% support for that administration. And the search for statute of limitations has also surged on Inauguration Day, off the charts, in fact. So it would be kind of appropriate, therefore, for those following along closely, that you then notice that Peter Strzok has deleted all of his tweets on social media, despite having almost 250,000 followers and having joined that organization way back in August of 2018. However, what do we know about Peter Strzok? Well, Donald Trump got in early on the action there, December 7, 2017, in fact, when he said that the anti-Trump FBI agent led the Clinton email probe. Well, that starts to make sense, and we know a little bit about the email probe, some 30-odd thousand emails Hillary Clinton deleted. She had a private server. The New York Times reported that she had classified information on a private server, which is an automatic breach, despite James Comey saying that there was no need to indict her or recommend charges in that particular case. That was a great big fib. Well, as it turns out, as the probe of text messages went about with Peter Strzok and his then lover, the FBI lawyer, he was having an affair. This was an example of some of those text messages back in 2016. Peter Strzok just went to a Southern Virginia Walmart. I could smell the Trump support. Lisa Page, yep, out to lunch with so-and-so. We both hate everyone and everything. Another of the text messages, Peter Strzok to Lisa Page. I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, that is Andrew McCabe, but that there's no way he gets elected, but I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before the age of 40. And another one of these text messages from Lisa Page, Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? Strzok, no, he won't. We will stop it. So, was it all Peter Strzok? Or were they serving the order of someone higher? Barack Obama came out and said, I guarantee that there is no political influence in any investigation conducted by the Justice Department or the FBI, not just in this case, but in any case, full stop. And that is way back in April of 2016. So this is before Trump was elected. This was when he was on the campaign trail. It's interesting to know that Barack Obama chose his own Secret Service nickname of Renegade. A renegade is a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. A traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat, rebel, or mutineer. I find that fascinating in itself, that that's the name that Obama had chosen, and sits here and denies what's actually going on. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to take you back, and I'm going to play a clip of Peter Strzok back in 2020 as he's being, well, somewhat grilled in this component of the interview But of course, we'll see where it ends up.
Will have hidden leverage over the president?
I think that's a fair assumption.
Why?
I think when you look at President Trump and the efforts he has taken to fighting tooth and nail to prevent, for instance, the release of his tax records, there is something there that he doesn't want out.
Strzok, a key part of the team investigating Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, also worked briefly with the special counsel in 2017, looking into the Trump campaign's ties with Russia before being removed and later fired. His dismissal coming after the discovery of text messages he exchanged with a coworker with whom he was having an affair. Texts like, F Trump, Hillary should win 100 million to 0, and about a possible Trump victory, we'll stop it, giving ammunition to the president and his supporters who believed the FBI was working against President Trump. A watchdog report later found no political bias motivating the investigation.
These outside independent people who have looked at it have concluded that this was entirely proper.
To some people in this country, your credibility is simply and frankly shot. They just don't believe what you're saying because of some of your past actions, the text message, etc. Why should those people believe you now that you're coming out and sounding the alarm bell about President Trump?
Listen to what I have to say. I guarantee you, whoever you are in America, you are not going to step away from that without a deep, deep concern about our president's interactions and a relationship with the government of Russia.
In a statement, the White House calls Strzok's book utter nonsense, adding, quote, he is now trying to make money selling the same lies for which he was fired.
Strzok and Page, the lovers, the great lovers.
The president himself has described Strzok as a minion, a sick loser, and accused him of treason.
It is angering. It promotes fear. It is fearful. The second thing is it is enormously frustrating because it's not the truth. And it strips away your identity, at least with whatever portion of the population is listening and believing the president.
You had to have known that writing this book would reignite those attacks. So why do it?
Because it's important to get the message out.
You are ringing the alarm bell.
I am.
You think people will listen to it?
I hope so. I think so.
Even with you as the messenger?
Absolutely.
How about that, hey? So Peter Strzok is out there back in 2020 selling a book called Compromised, as pitching his side of the story, to which the sitting president at the time accuses him of being all sorts of things and very clearly a liar. So where do we go next now that we've learned that Peter Strzok at the weekend has deleted all his posts on X? Well, a little bit of a backtrack and a reminder for you. Take a look at this story, or at least this headline, from July 28, 2024, so about 7 months ago. Two former FBI officials settle lawsuits with Justice Department over leaked messages. Well, what's the story about? Let's read it out. So the two former FBI officials settled lawsuits with the Department of Justice on Friday, resolving claims that their privacy rights were violated when the department leaked to the news media text messages that they had sent one another that disparaged former President Donald Trump. Peter Strzok, a former top counterintelligence agent who played a crucial role in the investigation into the Russian election interference in 2016, settled his case for $1.2 million. Lisa Page, an FBI lawyer who exchanged text messages with Strzok, also reached a separate settlement. Court records reviewed by the Associated Press show she is to be paid $800,000. The two had sued the Justice Department over a 2017 episode in which officials shared copies with reporters of text messages that they had sent each other, including ones that described Trump as an idiot, a loathsome human, and that called the prospect of a Trump victory terrifying. Strzok, who also investigated former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, was fired after the text messages came to light. Page resigned. They later sued, alleging that department officials leaked the text messages to promote a false narrative of anti-Trump bias within the FBI and to elevate the department's status with Trump after his relentless attacks on then Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Justice Department Inspector General reports examining the handling of the Clinton email and Trump-Russia investigations did not find evidence that a partisan bias within the FBI influenced investigative decisions. Strzok has also sued the department over his termination, alleging the FBI caved to unrelenting pressure from Trump when it fired him and that his First Amendment rights were violated. These constitutional claims remain pending. This outcome is a critical step forward in addressing the government's unfair and highly politicized treatment of Pete Strzok, lawyer Aiton Goldman said in a statement Friday. announcing the statement. Can you believe that? Peter Strzok scored $1.2 million for having his text messages, which imply treason, released to the mainstream media. And Lisa Page, who resigned, as she sure well should, when you consider some of the particular emails, such as this one, or text messages. Lisa Page, Trump's not ever going to become president, right? No, he won't. We will stop it. And according to this particular news article that I just read out to you, we are learning that, goodness me, the Attorney Inspector General reports examining the handling of the Clinton email and Trump Russia investigations did not find evidence that partisan bias within the FBI influenced investigative decisions. No, we'll stop it. Goodness me, there was no evidence. There never was. Strzok called it that. Clearly his conspiracy theory right there, and that's where we are. Well, as we've now learnt, Peter Strzok has deleted all of his tweets. Let's put a little bit of a picture for you now. Do you wonder why the FBI and the deep state, the Democrat establishment, are afraid of Kash Patel being confirmed and sworn in as the next FBI director?
Who Lisa, not you, but the audience, who Lisa Page and Peter Strzok were. You have the number one lawyer responsible for the Russiagate investigation and the number one FBI agent. These two were literally, while having an affair, texting each other before the election and saying they would stop candidate Trump from being president. I mean, just hit pause on that alone. The individuals charged to lead the investigation into the Trump campaign were texting each other before the election saying all the ways that they would stop it.
There it is. Kash Patel will this week be confirmed and sworn in as the next director of the FBI. Is it any wonder that Peter Strzok is realizing that his days are numbered? And who would else say it but General Mike Flynn? Don't worry, Peter, the digital army has secured every single one. That is our insurance policy, with news that former FBI agent Peter Strzok has removed all posts from his X account. What a time it is to be alive. Check out the Daily Australian each day from noon, Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time, with myself, Jason Olborn, and Nicola Charles. You can catch us on X, Rumble, and Substack.